Can you hear me, Rick? Rick's RC Crawlers. Thanks to the coming into the chat. Can you hear me? Wicked. Is my screen clear? Can you see it? It's not all broken up and sketchy. Perfect. Thanks, Rick. How's your day going, Rick? Yeah, I came out here to have a smoke and I decided to go and try out this live, see what it's like. Never done it before. This will be the first time. Just trying to set up my tripod here so I can get a better view. I've been looking at the live feeds all morning, and I just don't find anything interesting on there. So I decided to come on my own and see if anybody wanted to chat. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for. I'm just trying it out. It's weird to be on the other side of the live. I don't hear anybody. Well, I've had my YouTube channel up for, well, I guess a little bit over a year and a half now, and I've just been slowly posting stuff. I'm not on it like everybody else is. Lots of people go live 2 or 3 times a day. Do you want me to give you a view of my truck, like the back deck? Do you want to see anything on this truck? Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It took me a long time to build this. Just the deck alone took me like 6 months to do. As soon as I saw this TRX4 come out on the market, I knew I was building a tow truck. So I just weighed it the other day, and this thing weighs 17 pounds. It's loaded with lead and some brass up front. More lead than brass. My heaviest truck that I put on it was 16 pounds. It was that 6x6 that I got that video of, the short one. Yeah, he broke a servo on an overland crawl that we had, his steering servo. So he was shot halfway through the trail. So they came and asked me, because it's a points accumulating overland crawl. So he asked if I could tow him back. And I told him it would cost him 100 points. And he hummed and hawed for a bit. Did he want to carry a 17 or 16 pound truck, or did he want me to do it? And he chose for me to pull him home. So I had to pull him home back to his truck, back to his car for almost an hour with my truck. It took me a battery and a half, because I don't run LiPo. I only do NIM battery. I'm an old school guy. I don't like the idea of possibly having a fire. And if I have to prepare for something like that where I might have a fire, I just don't want to have anything to do with it. I've already had my house burned down once, so I'm not gonna enter in the idea of having another possibility of a house fire. I got way too much stuff now to lose. So plus I have a wife and she has her things, so I'm just not gonna take any. I'm not gonna take any chances with LiPo. NIM does it good enough for me. It doesn't show me on my screen how many people. I guess you're the only one in here. I have other things that I want to do on my channel, but I think I'm just going to keep it RC related, because everything on my channel is all RC anyway. So I did a test the other day with my boom winch. And I was explaining to my wife about mechanical advantage, and this thing easily lifts up 2 2-liters off the ground, no problem. Hanging over the edge. Just back it up to this edge right here and pick up 2 2-liters down there. It does it no problem. So I built it pretty strong. Say 2 and 2 thumbs up. You know, the funny thing about this, which is hard to explain, is that right underneath here, this is a Traxxas hidden clip. There's one on this side and one on the other side, and all of the weight that gets put onto this truck is relying on these 2 little clips. And you can see that these 2 little clips right here, they're right here, and they just click down, and that's it. So I was pretty happy with how that worked out. Those pulleys are smart. You know, I knew that the 10-pound Traxxas winch wasn't going to be able to lift 10 pounds. It's just not going to do it. So, and I didn't know how to, I didn't know anything about mechanical advantage. So I had to study for a few months about how pulleys work and about mechanical advantage. So that's what I did. I put 4-to-1 mechanical advantage on the boom. And then I put, it also is a telescopic boom, but it's really dirty and I've never needed to use it. But the mechanical advantage on the boom to pull this back in as it extends out, to pull it back in, this is 3-to-1, and that's why these 3 cables are here on both sides. So I don't know, it could be 6-to-1, I don't know. But it's just to pull the boom back into the tube. And then I got those little pulleys from Amazon, which give me 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio, and I double them all up, and it gets to 4 and 8. So it's a pretty powerful truck. And then I got 4 winches. There's one right there, and then there's one right here, vertical, and then there's that one there, and then I got one on the front. This one is bolted to the deck upside down underneath it. It's not bolted to the chassis at all. So I put a lot of thought into this. I was sitting there with my wife having dinner with my head in my hands trying to figure out how to do this because I blueprinted it all in my head first before I built it. And I did problem solving and troubleshooting, and I was activating all of the parts in my brain before I even started cutting aluminum because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have to do a trial and error and fix it and try to figure it out. No, it was all working in my head before I built anything. So that's why it worked the first time. And then I got this. This is my boat. 1949, I think, 1948 Chris Craft runabout. This is full RC. I'm working on a trailer for it right now. I'm building a recovery truck myself, nothing like that. You know what? As long as it can lift the front wheels of another truck off the ground or pull it out of the hole or something like that, then, it's a recovery truck. I've seen lots of people on my groups on Facebook that got recovery trucks, and some of them are, I don't know. I don't want to grade my work against somebody else, but I can see that some other people, they buy a little tiny hook off the line, off YouTube, Amazon, and they call it a tow truck, and they got a little boom and a hook. But me, I'm old school. I have to make it look like a real tow truck if I'm going to build a tow truck. That's just me, right? I grew up watching Monster Garage and stuff like that, and I live by Jesse James' rules, which is it has to be functional, it has to work, it has to look good, it has to look factory, it has to look like it was built to do that job, right? So that's what my rules are. You nailed it on that build. I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate all the good things that people have said about it because I don't want to do a half-assed job in anything. I like to do the best job that I can. And even then, when I look back over it, I've gone over it and redone some things like these boom tubes right here. These are telescopic. If I yank out this nail right here, this will extend another 1.5 inches because I used to have a shorty, a little tiny short one, and it was just not doing the job. I realized that I need to keep the truck that I'm towing a little bit further away from my truck because my truck is so tall, right? My truck is, I don't have a measuring tape with me right now. Here's a NIM battery. This is an 8.4 volt NIM battery. And you can see where my wheel well is, so you can tell how long this is. This is a 7. It's the one at the back here, so you can see how tall my truck is. I got 5 pop can underneath the front bumper, so I got to keep that boom really long in order to keep people on my hook. So these are telescopic. They're closed right now. So that's pretty cool. This sling was fun to figure out. There's 3 different movements in this. There's left and right. There's twist left or twist up and down, and then there's the function of it doing this. There's a lot involved in thinking about how to. It's really a lot of thought. So that's why it was a brain buster for me, and that's why I'm so happy that it's done now. And then I got things like these are my boom chains, like for the sling. These go under your axle. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy another RC car probably for another few years. So I figured I'd build what I want and then never turn back. Once I cut that body in half, that was a big deal for me, cutting this body in half. That's a $200 body from Traxxas. And I cut that thing in half. It was a day for me because that's a commitment. Once you cut that body in half, it's a tow truck forever. It's not going to go back to being a 4x4 square body. It's a tow truck now forever. And yeah, it's tall. It's really top heavy, but like I said, it's 17 pounds. The deck weighs 2 pounds, maybe a little bit more with everything on it. And then I've added 7 pounds of counterweight up front, maybe 8 pounds of counterweight up front with lead from the wheels of my car. And my tire guy, I asked him for a bunch of lead, sticky leads. So I loaded up the front. It's got a sound kit in it, and there's lead loaded around my sound kit and loaded up underneath the front bumper. There's 1 ounce chunks all over the place, and I've lost count of how many that I put in there. So, but yeah, it's a tow truck and it will be forever. So what are you, sorry, I'm smoking back here. It's hard to not cough. What are you working on today in your shop? Building a new crawler. What class are you building? What are you working on? I've been thinking about getting into like actual real rock crawling because a lot of the guys that I go out with going over car for speed challenge. Okay. Like what kind of speed challenge? Like a lap or a distance? Like a drag race or a lap? Class 2 truck, a buddy built a new frame. Sweet. Man, I don't know. I don't know enough about 4x4s and links and suspension setup in order to build my own crawler. I know a lot of the guys that I hang around with, they build their own crawlers. And they come out with some nice stuff. Me, I'm not that knowledgeable about all of the way that the suspension needs to be in order to build my own yet. Believe it or not. It's funny, I can build anything that I want to build, but I don't know anything about a crawler. But I was thinking about buying one for this summer so I could go to the comps that my guys are involved in, my friends are involved in. See, I go to the comps to be a recovery truck for them if they so choose to have one. I post up on a high rock, and if they need a winch, then I apply my winch. So that's what my purpose is. I just went there usually to hang out with the guys and have fun and enjoy the hobby. And then I found out that I could actually be a part of it and I could be a postman for winch setup. So that's what I started doing. And then, so that's why I go there. But I've been watching and I'd really like to start competing. And I'd like to get a class 2 truck. But I don't have the money for that right now. You know, life gets in the way. Speed challenge for two-wheel drive car with 3S and 1,000 feet. Just speed challenge for two-wheel drive car with 3S, like 1,000 feet. So that's pretty far. Do you elevate? Do you elevate yourself up halfway at the 500-foot mark so you can see both ways? Because I had an RS4 HBI 2-speed gas, and that thing was crazy fast. I don't know what you guys hit nowadays. I see guys hitting over 150 miles an hour and 200 miles an hour in some of their cars, and they're catching fire with their lipos and everything. But my gas car, it would reach 75 kilometers an hour. I had one of those digital speedos on it, 75 kilometers an hour, because I live in Canada. And that was way too fast for that car. 4-wheel drive, 2-speed with brakes, and I put a Hyper 21 off engine in it, big block, and it had been tuned, ported, and that thing was so fast. When it hit second gear, it was an altogether different car after first gear. Like, first gear was decent. You get 40 kilometers an hour out of it. But when second gear hit, the car became different. It would double in speed immediately. You want 70 to 100 miles an hour. Man, fast costs money because a wreck is expensive. I flipped my HPI so many times, and man, suspensions, I had to flip over my diffs. I had to put the front diff and the back diff up front and flip them over because my gears on my spur were inside the diff were spidered. So I was grinding the gears, it wouldn't go. So I flipped the diffs over, and that way the gear was on the other side of the tooth, and it worked again. If I had burnt up those gears to the point where there was no gears at all, it was just open end. So speed costs money. Speed costs money, very true. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's why I went with this crawler. And you know what? That crawler ain't cheap either, man. That truck ain't cheap. You know what it costs to buy one brand new, and I'm in Canada, so add $300 to that, and yours, you know, and then all of the accessories and everything else that I bought, like each one of those winches is $150 Canadian. So you can imagine the amount of money that I got into that. And yeah, crawlers are still expensive. However, the speed does not destroy it. And this thing's built to take a rollover too. It's been on its lid 1,000 times, and it doesn't damage it, doesn't break it. Yeah, crazy expensive. You know what? This hobby is expensive. That boat you're looking at right now cost me $550 just to buy it and have it shipped from one province to another. I didn't build it. I just bought it because this Chris Craft boat is my absolute favorite boat of all time. Is that my only truck? Well, yes and no. This I have also. This is a Team Raffi 6x6 Defender, and the guy that owned it before me wanted me to build him a tow truck. And yeah, it is a clean looking boat. I'll show you in a sec. So he wanted me to build him a tow truck. He gave me this body, and he said he wants me to do a cab over, and he wants me to just do whatever I felt like doing to this truck. So I'm gonna make it a 750 Holmes twin boom truck. It's got 2 winches mounted right there, and then there's going to be one here and one on the other side over there, and this is the battery box. I'm going to put the ESC in there too, and you know, the cables are going to come up this way and out to lift this up, and then these winches would be the ones that pull the cord. These 2 winches here will be the ones that lift the boom, and you know, there's a lot of work left to go into this. So I made it a cab over. It's got that motor in it right there, die cast engine. So I have this, and he ended up backing out of the deal, and he's like, just keep the truck, don't worry about it, because he goes through RC cars like, I don't know, I keep seeing this guy buying and selling RC cars, so this must not have meant too much to him. And then I got the Batmobile. This is from 1989, and it is RC. It's all original, except for the ESC and motor. It's a lipo setup, which I'm going to throw out of there. But this is another project for me to work on. And here's the boat. that clean looking boat. Hell yeah, I can't wait to see what you do to that. Yeah, you know what? It's been a long time. I had to stop because it was breaking my brain. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And as soon as he backed out of the deal, I kind of lost interest, right? So now I got something to work on. But this is full RC. I don't know who built it, but it's regular limb or NIM battery. You know, it's nothing special. There's a small steering servo behind the rear seat. Both seats come out. And it didn't have a steering wheel when I got it, so I took the steering wheel out of my 1948 Tucker 1/18 scale model, and I put it in there. This is just one of my hobbies. And I cleaned up my garage and I decided to build this little makeshift shop to kind of organize my stuff. But I've always been in the hobby. I've always been into RC. I'm 47 years old, so I've been in the RC world for a long, long time, except for I took some time off, and that's when everything changed. I left when it was NIM and gas. I come back and it's all LiPo. Nobody does NIM and gas anymore. Everything's changed. There's all these accessories and different things, and you know, like the world of RC just changed drastically in the time that I was gone. So I don't really want to dive into that world of LiPo and everything. So I just stayed old school because I can still get it. So I just put the foam rails on this trailer to protect the boat on the bottom. These two rails right here are nice and foam now. Little by little, I'm gonna finish this. And here's a suspension that I've been in it hard the last 5 years or so. I got back in when I bought the truck. And I bought the truck brand new when it came onto the shelf in Canada 2 years ago or whatever. I had seen the Red Cat Lowrider 64 Impala, and I love that. That's one of my favorite cars. So I started to fall in love with that car, and I thought about getting back into the hobby and getting one of those. But I realized that the scene for lowriders isn't very big out here in Canada, and I don't think I really want to be just limited to on the road or in my house. You know, I want to play with my stuff. I want to play with my RC cars. So I figured I'll look into other things, and then I saw that the TRX4 Cheyenne came out, and I just like absolutely love the square body. So I started studying that truck, and I realized that it's got so many options and features and things that I've never even heard of in an RC car before. 2-speed and lockers. So I just fell in love with the truck. So I bought that one instead of the lowrider, and I'm glad I did because I can just go everywhere. Plus, it opened up the door for me to build something out of it. So that's what I did. But you got 4 TRX4s, man. I want to buy another one, but I've already got one. You know, I like options, but I also like two of the same thing. And I don't think that I need another TRX4. I wouldn't buy a sport. I don't like single speed. The 2-speed option for me is like one of the main sellers of that truck because I don't know. I just like having 2 speeds. That thing is locked out. I locked out the diffs and I unplugged the servos, and I use those for my lights. So I have a lot of light options in my truck. I use I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're called a 190 mil splitter line. And what it is this. Hang on a sec. I can get over there. Hang on one sec. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm here. So in my truck, I have a couple of these. This is a 190 mil 3-channel flasher. And if you look, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, right at the top here, there's a positive and a negative and a positive and a negative. And these ones that go to my lights. So this is A and this B. Like these two are A and these two are B. And that on my front of my truck, I have a bar light that's connected to this, which is on the roof. And then I have my 2 spotlights on the front, which are connected to this. So through this switch, I unplugged my diffs, and the switch on the top of my remote, for the lockers. I use this one for my lights now. So this is my spotlight. Actually, that's not true. This is my beacon light. And then if I go like that, my beacon light turns off and then my beam light comes on. And then if I do that again, the beam light and the beacon light come on. And then if I go backwards one, the backlights on my spotlights come on the back of the truck. So all of these control my lights, all of it. And then there's my 4 winches, 2 there and 2 here. And I you know what, I used the differential locks when I first got the truck and I enjoyed it and it was fun and all. But you know what, I'd rather have them locked because I would lock my diffs all the time. So I figured I'm gonna use my diffs locked constantly. This way I don't have to worry about breaking other stuff. And this is stump puller. I just re-geared the diffs. Pretty sick for lights. Yeah. You know what? I tried to get as many lights on there as possible. And all the, you know what? Here's the trick about this. So there are 3 lights here. 1, 2, 3, and they're orange. And then there's 2 here, and then 3 in the back here. And then there's 6 right here, red lights up here. And they are all running off the Traxxas light system power block, the 3-volt power block. The rest of my lights are running off the receiver at 6 volts. So those lights that I just showed you that are in the deck, those are Christmas lights that I cut up from a string of Christmas lights. You can go to the dollar store and get them. So here's what I'm talking about. These lights right here. You just cut them. There's red and yellow and blue. And then you take your Traxxas plug and you stick it in there. Wire it straight in. 3 volts. That's it. And that's how I got so many damn lights on this truck. So I got the Traxxas K5 light kit, the bar light, the beacon light, the 2 spotlights. I also got the rock lights, and then all of the lights in the back of the truck. There's like over 40 lights on this thing. Yeah, cool idea. It is, because it's 3 volts, right? And that Traxxas plug has 4 locations. So your rock lights go in one location, your Traxxas lights for the K5 or K10 Blazer light kit goes into another location. You're left with 2 more openings. So you can run 2 more sets of 3-volt lights. And if you use a Christmas string, which only costs you $2 at the dollar store, you got so many lights. There's 40 lights on that string. So why not chop it up and wire it all in? The wiring in this truck is a mess. If I lift up the lid of that thing, it's nothing but cables and cords everywhere. It's funny. But that's what I do, is I build stuff and I make things and I figure stuff out and I work on stuff. I never actually outright buy a boat. I'm not a wood guy, so I do metal. So this wood boat thing here is just not something that I could make, and it would never look that nice. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate you coming into the chat, man. There's nobody else in here but you. It's funny. I figured I'd try this out, see how it goes. I'm probably killing my data on my phone doing this. I think I'll go for another 20 minutes and then I'll hang up. Yeah, this Batmobile was an impulse buy. I bought it because it was, you know how rare these things are, man? I don't know if you are aware of how rare these are, but I looked, after I bought that Batmobile, I looked for them online, and there's only two more for sale in Canada, all the way across the board. In the States, I couldn't find any. And that's, I don't know, I'll probably never get rid of that Batmobile. I've never seen one before either. As soon as I saw it come on the Facebook Marketplace, right where I live, I was like, hey. And I had my old lady look it up, and I'd never seen one before either. And I had her look it up, and we were looking at the wrong one. We were looking at the one that was a 1/6 scale, the one that's like $3,000, all die cast with lights and everything, and it's just a placement model, doesn't move. And that's what I thought I was looking at. And when I went to go pick it up, I saw it was only a 1/10 scale RC. And I said, yeah, I'll buy it. So I bought it off the guy. He just handed it to me. There's nothing else involved with it. No remote, nothing. It's just a body and a chassis. So I'll clean it up one day. I still got all the little parts. But here's something I wanted to show you. Back to the trailer of my boat here. This is something that I've been working on. I've run out of nuts. I can't finish this job because I don't have any more nuts and I don't have any more screws. However, this is something that took me a little while to figure out, but this is a independent suspension for my boat. And it's a leaf spring inside. You can see it right there, that leaf spring right there, and that leaf spring right there. Goes all the way through underneath the two screws on the side right here. And it's independent. And if it doesn't hold the weight of the boat, which I think it should, it will, I'll put another leaf spring in. And just so you know, these leaf springs right here, these are the bristles of the street sweepers. So the next time you see a street sweeper going down the road, go look next to the curb, and you'll find these things. And it's just a little strip of metal, a little tiny strip of metal. And that's all it is. And they sweep the street with it on the bristles. And they come flying off and they get stuck in the curb, and you just go pick them up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about the way that looks. I'm not connected to just one thing in the hobby, I guess. You know, the boat. I have another boat. Thank you. I appreciate the great Fab Skills comment. I have another boat here. The Shockwave Dynamite 21. I had to do a lot of work to get that thing to work again. I had to, I don't know if you know anything about boats, but I didn't know this, but they have a flex line that the drive shaft goes through. I didn't know anything about it. And then when I fired it up, the flex line broke on me. So I decided to take a welding rod. And now this is a trick that I do with all of this. So this is this bar right here, this one here, that is a push rod from my Trans Am. And inside it is a welding rod that I threaded the ends on. So that's why, and it spins so nice. You can see the nut rotating inside the tube. So this is a trick that I do. I put a 532 welding rod through the center of my push rod, You got to clean the inside of the push rod out and shine up the outside and everything and make it look good. And you got to break the flux off a welding rod and spin it with some sandpaper and a drill until it's nice and shiny, until it slides through that push rod real nice and easy. So that's what I did to that boat up there. I had to make a new shaft for the drive. So I just did a straight, non-flexible push rod, welding rod, drive axle right to the prop from the motor. There's no give at all. So it should never break again. But it's gas and it's oily and it's gross and it's not that nice to deal with. So I just put it up on the shelf until such times as I get this trailer done for this boat and get this one running, because I haven't put it in the water yet. I had it in a little kids pool that I bought for my dog to see if it floats and works, and it does. So I'll take it down to the lake this summer, but I need to get more screws to finish off this suspension so that I can finish off the boat trailer. And then maybe next year I'll move on to the big boat. So yeah, that boat's got a nice little crack in the hull, in the white Shockwave, not the wooden one. The wooden one is mint. But it's got a crack in the hull, so I got to figure out how to do fiberglass repair and then fix that boat maybe a little bit, paint it. I'd like to do a replica boat of Miami Vice. That's just like the Batmobile, it's a project for down the road. Yeah, it sucks that it's got a crack in the hull. I didn't know it when I bought it. I missed it when I looked at it. Then I took it home and took a better look at it. And yeah. But whatever. I'll fix it. So here's a little thing that I've been waiting to put into my truck. $600 Traxxas. Look at the price I paid for that in Canadian dollars, man. 600-inch pound Traxxas servo. I'm waiting for Amazon to send my metal servo box that I'm going to install in that truck, because I don't want to put a 600-inch pound servo in my truck and not back up the force that's going to apply to my frame. Yeah, it's a hell of a servo as far as I know. I see a lot of people buying all kinds of servos, Reef 777 and stuff like that. But I just went with what Traxxas has. I want to keep it as if I have to upgrade it, then I want to upgrade it with Traxxas parts. I don't want to upgrade it with outside things like a hobby wing and all that stuff, and I don't want to lipo the crap out of it. So I want to keep it stock as possible. That truck is entirely stock. The only things I've had off of that truck are the shocks to replace the springs on the back with stiffer ones, and those are some wheels that I bought off a guy. Other than that, that truck is 100% stock. The servo is stock up front. The motor is still stock. ESC is still stock. Everything is stock on it. So, and that's 2 years running it. And I run my truck, I treat it like a real vehicle. I drive it like a real vehicle. I steer it like a real vehicle. I don't force the steering to do anything. I help that steering servo, so I guess that's why it's been alive for so long. But yeah, I want to keep it stock or Traxxas parts. So I got the BEC for it, and I've got also, like I said, I re-geared the differentials. New spurs. One of these, the head stripped out on the screws, and I had to drill the screw out from the back, and I was able, yeah, this hole right here, that hole right there, I had to drill the head out of the screw. I was able to save it, and this is reusable if needed, but I don't need it anymore. But I redid both front and rear diffs, but I also have the pinion and spur gear for the motor, 9-tooth, 45-tooth. So it's going to go all torque. Yeah, I want it all torque. I don't want it going any faster than it does. It has done me well. You know what? I'm not the kind of guy to beat the crap out of my stuff. I want to take it easy because it's expensive, man. I don't want to be breaking stuff and having a truck that's down. I can throw a battery in it right now and fire it up. Actually, I have a battery right here. I have a battery right here. Here, we'll do this. Hang on one sec. So here's the backlights. This is with that 190 mil 3-channel flasher switch that you can get from Amazon. And then turn them off and then click the switch again forward. Then the beacon light comes on. And then if I click it forward again, I got the big huge beams up front. That's a bar light and both my spotlights. And then you can turn the flasher back on up top. And then everything flashes again. And I can then turn these all on. I have full control of all my lights still while other things are going on. And then I can have them all on. So this would be all of my lights on. Shit, what did I do? These are under here is these side, the rear ones flash in and out. Sometimes they don't work. There's all the red ones there. These ones back here, they're loose connections and stuff in there because I've been beating it. But yeah. And those are really bright. I'm sure you know how bright those are. That's great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, lots of work, man. Lots and lots of work. And then there's accessories coming out everywhere. I got shackles and hooks coming out of my yin yang and inside the garbage can here. Inside the garbage can here, I have my what are these called? These little pulleys, snatch blocks, and then there's even more stuff in there. This is my pull strap. I actually sewed this. This is my first, maybe second toe strap. I gave one away, so this must be my second one. I don't know how to sew, so I sat here for a long time making this toe strap. And then way in the back there on the left-hand side, you'll see I got a scale battery. The battery's dying. One of the best tow trucks I've seen. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. To be honest, you're not the only person that said that to me. A lot of people look at this thing and they don't know what to say. Because when you look at it, because it's all aluminum and there's so many holes, you wouldn't believe it, but there's like 100 screws in there. And it's just, when you take a really, really good look at it in up close and personal in real life, you see how much work in it. This is one piece of aluminum, this deck, and I had to hand bend it there, and I had to hand bend it 90 degrees in the back, also on a downward angle. I don't know if you might be able to see that, but right here, this is a downward angle, and so it comes across and it goes down like that, and then it levels out, and then it comes back up. This is still the same piece of aluminum right here. So it all comes down, it comes up flat here, and then on an angle, and then it comes across, and then it goes down like that. I had to hand bend that, and it came out perfect the first time. Let me see if you can see this. You can see how it's all one piece and it's bent. Here's the mess of wires. There's a Traxxas clip right there, and it clips on right there in that little area. And it's all stock. I bent the deck around to fit the truck. I never changed anything in the chassis, and I never cut any holes in the chassis. You could take this deck off, take that body off, and throw on a brand new Cheyenne body, and it's going to be back to the way it was originally. This will bolt onto any high trail truck. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a high trail truck, it'll bolt on. You take it all off and plug it back into another truck. So this is a pop can. This is a pop can. I can slide a pop can underneath there. I put a tattoo on it. I had these stickers custom made. All these pinstripes was all custom made. They don't look as good as they did before. They've been all rubbed off. But put some hot rod pinstripes on there. This is a aluminum bumper, all metal. And that's 60-pound fishing line. 60 pounds. All my lines on this truck are 60-pound fishing line. Winch line, great winch line, yeah, it is. But I chose winch line for fishing. I chose fishing line for winch line because the regular winch line that they give you in the winch is not long enough. It's only like 3.5 feet or so. I have like 5 minutes worth of fishing line. I have no idea. It's probably 30 or 40 feet. But I have like on the boom line, there's probably 5 minutes of runtime on that winch loading up that boom or loading up that winch with fishing line. Same as the front. There's an awful lot of fishing line on the front, 30 or 40 feet easily. I have no idea. And then the one that's hidden underneath the back of the deck, the third winch, that one's got another 5 minutes worth of fishing line on it. So there's tons of line. I can throw snatch blocks, 3 snatch blocks at any one of my winches, and I have tons of cord. So if a guy's down the hill 10 feet, I can break out 30 feet of cord to bring him home, you know. It's pretty good. Not a lot of guys can pull out 30 feet of cord off their trucks. Well, I'm going to bounce out of here in about a minute and a half or so. I appreciate you coming into the chat, man. I appreciate you subbing to my channel. And I appreciate you watching and talking with me. This is the first time. It's a good experience. I appreciate it. So I'm just going to close up my truck here and sign off. First time on, it was a good hour. So that was good. So I'm gonna head out of here after I figure out how to turn this off. How do you do that? Do I just press the X up in the top corner there? I'm gonna try to figure it out. And yeah, you have a good day too, man. Thanks for watching. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes.